Hello everyone, I'm soldering up my bug blender because I figured this was the cable before. As if you don't already know, I resoldered my bug blender's activation cable because it was here and that's how you'd activate it, but I wanted an external cable to go to a step pad because that way it's just more accessible for me, or just to use in haunts. It adds way more utilization for it. I think Techie did that on purpose to make it so people didn't use it that much. Because this was released the earlier year, the Haunted Toaster, and they have a sound sensor for that, so I don't know why they don't have one for the bug blender. But regardless, I got the cable out. They actually had a lot of extra cable space, so it does make me wonder if they were gonna add like a step pad option, because there's a hole for it, and I can show that in a minute once I finish soldering. So right now I'm just waiting for my soldering iron to heat up, and oh my gosh, this tip is a mess. Let's look at that. It's because I used to melt the plastic on my pop-up ghost because I needed the space for wiggle room. So because the box was a little bit open, the gearbox is a little bit open because my piece was a little thicker than it should have been. So I'm making this shorter. It's just going to be, oh my gosh, this focus. I'm just going to make it a little bit shorter. It just really needs it because you don't want to be using a bug blender with this overly long cable that has, it has so many connection points. It's just so unnecessary. And speaking of unnecessary, look at this. It has this extra wire. It's because when I first installed it, I just had it going straight to the step pad, like soldered straight to the step pad. But then I added this lead so I can swap it out with other buttons, because I've got like a whole plethora of buttons in here that I can use and just swap out. So yeah, so it's just kind of jacking it. I figured it doesn't really need to be that long. Besides, I've got like a smaller button. Like I do this thing for all my animatronics. Like Gordo, thing won't focus. Gordo, he's got one. It means I can swap this out to a step pad and it works with him. I've got one for the chef. You can see it down there. I basically got it for most of them really. I was gonna install one in here, but I couldn't be bothered because I'm not really a big fan of him on it, if I'm quite honest, and I might sell him at some point. I'm not certain I'm going to sell him, but maybe. Now I'm going to go ahead and solder the first joint, which I've already kind of linked together. So that's I'll cut back once I've done that. Okay, I've done my best to get it linked up. I mean, the soldering iron is properly rickety. Like I can't solder the tip. I have to solder in the bit that's not covered in plastic. I really need to invest in a new tip because it's quite atrocious. Now, what I want to do, if you're soldering something like this, you just want to link it up, like kind of wrap it round, and you can kind of solder it in place. So I'm going to do that for the next joint. So I've done my best to link it up. It doesn't need to be linked too much. Oh, and by the way, if you're soldering something like this, it doesn't matter. Like if you're soldering a button, it doesn't matter they're red and black, because all it's doing is touching two wires together at the button and activating it. So you don't need to worry about red or black. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to go ahead and solder this now. Okay, I've connected these. I've done a really shoddy job. It's just because, again, my soldering iron is absolutely awful. So I'm going to probably upgrade it soon because it's not great. But that should do the job, and let's go test it out. I'm just going to borrow this button off Gordo. Right, it's all connected up. It's a really tiny button. Let's see if it works. There it goes. Sorry about that, I dropped my phone. Anyway, it works. Oh god, I'm so shaky. Right, so the next step, this is just a step I personally take, but I like to bandage it up with some electrical tape. So I'm going to go off and do that now. To be quite frank, you only need like this much, so you don't need that much for putting it together. There you go, just tape them up on both. That's it really. That's how you solder.